Most people work their entire lives and never get ahead. They do everything right, take good grades, find stable jobs, follow the rules, and yet somehow they're always one paycheck away from disaster. Meanwhile, billionaires seem to break every rule and still get richer. Here's what they don't teach you in school. Wealth isn't about hard work, it's about leverage. And today, I'm showing you exactly which levers the wealthy pull that you've never even heard of. Let me tell you about two people. First, there's Marcus. He does everything he's told. Good grades, college, student loans, lands a decent job at a big company making 55 grand a year. In his mind, he's on the path to wealth. But what he doesn't realize is he just locked himself into a system designed to keep him running in place. Why? Because his income is tied to his time. He trades hours for dollars. There's a mathematical ceiling on what he can earn. Stop working, earn nothing. Meanwhile, across the country, there's Sarah. No fancy college, but by age 25, she has $500,000 in assets. Same era, totally different results. The difference is that Sarah learned how money actually moves in the world. And that's where the real levers come in. The first lever is something you're told to avoid at all costs. Debt, but not the kind you were thinking of. Credit card debt, car loans, that's poor debt. It's a shame. But strategic debt, that's a weapon. Here's how it works. Say you have $100,000 in cash. You could buy a property outright, but a wealthy person puts down just $20,000 and borrows the other $80,000. Now they control a $100,000 asset with only 20 grand of their own money. If that property appreciates 5%, they've made $5,000. But that's not a 5% return. It's a 25% return on their actual $20,000 investment. That is leverage. They then use that property as collateral to borrow more for another investment and another. This is why Marcus, who sees his mortgage as a burden to be paid off quickly, stays stuck. Sarah sees that same mortgage as a tool. She keeps the debt, invests her extra cash in assets that earn more than her mortgage rate, and lets inflation slowly erode the loan. Who wins after 30 years? It's not even a contest. Lever number 2 is the tax system. The wealthy and the working class do not play by the same tax rules. When Marcus earns his $55,000 salary, he pays tax on almost all of it, taken right from his paycheck. Sarah, who owns a business and makes the same amount, can deduct her expenses, her home office, her car, business meals. So, while Marcus pays tax on $55,000, Sarah might only pay tax on $35,000. Same income, totally different tax bill. But the real secret? The wealthy often don't sell their assets at all. Instead, they borrow against them. Let's say Sarah has $2 million in investments. She can borrow $500,000 against them. That loan isn't income. It isn't taxable. She just accessed $500,000 tax-free. For Marcus to take home that much, he'd have to earn far more and pay a fortune in taxes. This isn't illegal. It's the actual design of the tax code, written to reward people who own assets. So what's the lesson here? It's not about working harder within the system Marcus is in. It's about understanding the system itself. The two levers, strategic debt and the tax code, are how wealth is truly built. They're not secrets hidden in a vault. They're roles, printed in plain sight for a game most of us were never taught how to play. Now you know they exist. The next move is yours. The third lever of wealth is invisible, which makes it the most powerful. It's your network. But not in the way you've been told. Forget the networking events and the business cards. This is about the fundamental reality of how opportunities are distributed in our economy. The truth is, the most valuable opportunities never hit the public market. Let me give you the economics of it. Marcus graduated and sent out 50 applications online. He competed against thousands, got filtered by software, and finally landed a job making $55,000. Sarah's father's friend was starting a company. He called Sarah's dad, who recommended him. No interview, no filtering. Sarah was hired as a co-founder. 2 years later, the company sold for $8 million, and Sarah walked away with $500,000. Same profession, same era, different networks. The wealthy understand this. Their kids go to elite universities not just for a better education, but for a better network. They join exclusive clubs not because they're bored, but because that's where deals are made. That's where the next opportunity surfaces. This is why generational wealth is so sticky. They don't just inherit money, they inherit a network that continues creating wealth long after the original money is gone. The difference between someone worth $1 million and someone worth $100 million is often just one conversation with the right person. Here's the fourth lever, and it's one that should infuriate you: inflation. Everyone complains about it, but they miss the point. Inflation is not a bug in the system, it's a feature. Depending on which side of the debt equation you're on, it either destroys your wealth or builds it. Remember Sarah's mortgage? She borrowed $80,000 at a fixed rate. Then the central bank engineers 3% inflation for the next 20 years. That means the $80,000 she owes is worth less every single year. She's paying her debt back with money that's worth less than when she borrowed it. Marcus, on the other hand, is devastated. His salary might increase by 2%, but inflation is eating 4% of his purchasing power. He is getting poorer every year. His savings in the bank? Earning 0.5% while inflation runs at 3%. The system is literally designed to transfer wealth from cash holders to asset holders, from savers to borrowers, year after year. And everyone's so distracted by the complaints that they never notice the structure. The fifth lever sounds boring, but it's more powerful than all the others combined: compounding. Einstein supposedly called it the eighth wonder of the world. Here's what most people don't get. The compounding curve is flat at first, deceptively, boringly flat, and then it turns vertical, but you have to get to the vertical part. Sarah starts investing $5,000 a year at age 22. Marcus waits until he's 35. He invested for 30 years, Sarah for 43. But because he started just 13 years later, he ended up with nearly $250,000 less. That's the price of 13 years. The wealthy start their kids' investments at birth, not just because they're generous, but because they understand that time in the market is the most valuable asset. Compounding is patient. It doesn't care about your hard work. It cares about your starting point and how much time you give it. So here's the thing. These levers aren't secret because they're hidden. They're secret because nobody talks about them. They're written in plain sight, in tax codes, in mortgage contracts, in investment documents. The wealthy didn't get there by working harder. They got there by understanding these systems and using them deliberately. You don't have to be born rich to pull these levers. You just need to understand how the game is actually played. Understand debt as a tool. Build a network that creates opportunities. Position your assets to benefit from inflation. And most importantly, give yourself time for compounding to do its work. Most people will listen to this, think it's interesting, and go back to their daily grind. But you might be the person who wonders why the rules don't seem to apply equally. You suspect there's a game being played that you didn't know about. And you're right, there is. Now you know how it works. The question is, what are you going to do about it? If this resonated with you, if you want to understand more about how wealth actually builds, beyond the marketing, beyond the noise, then subscribe. More videos like this are coming, because understanding the levers, that's the first step to pulling them. Thanks for watching.